Hey guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and it's time for my May TBR. May? No, it's June. Alright, so TBR stands for To Be Read Pile, so this is what I am thinking of reading or hoping to read for the month of June. Now, this is much different than what I was anticipating reading for June. I have kind of restructured some things. So before I get into the books, I just want to take a minute to talk about Jane and June. As most of you who watch me frequently probably know, I always do a Jane Austen event in the summer. Normally it's Jane in June. Last year it was Austen in August because I was unavailable in June. This year I was hoping to get it back on track with Jane in June, but things were just not looking good as far as, timing, and there was the potential I was going to be out of town for part of June. I was just going to go ahead and try to push through and schedule it for the end of June and hope that I could pull everything together. But then the other day I got a letter in the mail notifying me that I was a potential juror. So basically all signs are pointing to it's just not going to happen in June. I just really have no idea of what my schedule is going to be like, if I'm even going to be home for parts of June. I don't know. On top of all that, my computer was acting really funny the other day, and I was just like, okay, clearly it's a sign from the world. I should just postpone until August. I'll have more time to get it together. If something crazy does happen, then I can work around it, but the world was telling me just postpone. So I am. So for those of you that were wanting to participate in Jane in June, it is now going to be Austen in August once again this year, so there is plenty of time. I'm sorry if you were really eager and you were looking forward to some Jane Austen-y goodness right in June, but for the sake of my sanity, it's just gotta be August. So that being said, this month was originally just going to be reading all kinds of Jane Austen books, retellings, adaptations, rereading her books, just all wall-to-wall Jane Austen. And because that's being put off until August, that gives me room to work in some things I didn't think I was going to be able to get to. So I'm going to call it a win-win. Alright, so the books that I will be reading in June, most likely, because I'm not entirely sure since this was a last-minute change and I'm apt to change my mind, are A Matter of Days by Amber Kaiser. I did have this in the May TBR as a hope to, and I just didn't have time to get to it. And when I kind of started realizing that I would be pushing Jane in June, I just let this one slip into the June pile because I knew I would have time for it then, and it is coming out in June, so that's when I would be reviewing it anyway. So this one is dystopian, or post-apocalyptic I should say, because I think it's more on the post-apocalyptic side, which I love. I think I actually like that more than dystopias. I just sent Amber an interview, so I will have that up sometime soonish. And I believe this comes out around mid-month, so probably keep an eye out around then for the review. And Boy Nobody by Alan Zadoff, which also comes out in June, and I also had in the May TBR as a maybe. I didn't think I was going to get to it, and I didn't, so definitely will be reading it early on this month, and I'm looking forward to it. It's about a boy assassin, and it sounds really, really good. So those two are for sure, and I will definitely be reading at least one or two Jane Austen adaptations, so that I am better prepared when Austen in August does roll around, because I don't want to wait until the last minute. So don't know what I'll be reading exactly, but something Janey. I'll probably finish up the A Tale of Less Pride and Prejudice Continued series by Alexa Adams, which is First Impressions and Second Glances, since I am just about done with First Impressions and I know I'll fly through Second Glances. So I'll probably do those, or maybe I'll do Sass and Serendipity by Jennifer Ziegler, or There Must Be Murder by Margaret C. Sullivan, all of which I think will be pretty quick reads, so I can kind of knock them out. But as I said, I'm not sure, so that'll just probably be completely dependent on mood and whichever ones call my name the most at any given moment. The other books I'm contemplating reading, and I'm not entirely sure I'm going to have the time for, but I think would be really kind of fun and cool to work into this month, are Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier and Thorne Abbey by Nancy Olin. I had Thorne Abbey as a maybe in last month's pile, but it didn't get here until the very end of the month, so I knew I wasn't going to end up being able to read it for May. And I was thinking that that was probably going to mean I wouldn't be able to read it until late summer because I was anticipating having a lot of Jane Austen books to read, but since that was moved, I'm thinking I could probably read it this month. However, It is a retelling of Rebecca, and I haven't read Rebecca. I was just going to go ahead and dive into this on its own, that way I wouldn't be, judging it against this. But because I've had so many people push Rebecca on me, and I've pulled it out a million times intending to read it and just haven't, I thought it would be cool to maybe read them back to back. Now this could backfire, because when you read a classic and then an adaptation of that classic, you might end up judging the adaptation really, really harshly because you've just read the classic and you know how it's supposed to go, all of those little bits of finesse and awesomeness that make it a classic, and you might be like, that's not how it was done. It's kind of like watching a movie right after having read the book. You're setting the movie up for failure. So I'm hoping that I'm not doing that to Thorne Abbey because I'm really looking forward to it, but I think it'd be cool to read them back to back and kind of do a compare and contrast. So if you guys like that idea and you think that it sounds neat and you want me to do a video on it, definitely let me know in the comments. And if any of you want to read these along with me, do so, and maybe we can, figure out some kind of like Twitter chat or something that we can do to kind of have fun with it. So that is what I'm planning on reading in June as of this moment, but as I said, these changes were all pretty last minute, and I'm still kind of thinking things over and running through my head of what have I forgotten and what am I missing and things like that. So it's apt to change at any time. Of course, there will also be one other book that I will definitely be reading because you guys are going to pick it for me, and that will be in my stack of 5. So if you want to go vote on that, make sure you click and give me your input. So if you want to go vote on that, please do so. I'm definitely eager to see which one you guys want me to read and review. Other than that, that is my TBR for this month. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, which books you are looking forward to, which ones sound interesting and all that. If you do your own TBR, link it up as a video response and I will come check it out and give you my input. And until next time, happy reading!